Hi, I'm Bob Perkins, and this is Aggressive Grace. In this episode, we're going to talk about the potter and the clay. There are essentially three metaphors in the scripture for what it is to be a Christian. Not what it is to become a Christian, but what it is to be a Christian. And one is adoption, one is slaves, and the other is the potter and the clay. This comes from Romans 9, verses 20 to 21. And Paul is addressing his friends, his church in Rome, and he is saying to them, in the midst of his argument for election and predestination, pretty heavy stuff, and he says to them in the middle of it, but who are you, O man, to answer back to God? That's a great question. Will what is molded say to its molder, why have you made me like this? Has the potter no right over the clay to make out of the same lump one vessel for honorable use and another for dishonorable use? Paul is framing the life of the Christian, and in this case, particularly his case here for election, and he's saying, you're the clay, and God's the potter. Mostly we think we're the potter. We think, hey, I get to mold my own life, I get to mold my own world, and God is going to help me. But that misses the whole point. The point is that God is the potter. God is the creator. And we're the clay. He gets to mold us, to make us into whatever he wants. I want to talk about three things here about this. 3 points essentially. One, that we're made in his image. God, when God creates man, he creates him in his image. And we're image bearers. We bear in our nature the image of God. When I first started the Vision for Your Life consulting, and I would say to people, mostly men, what do you think your core motivator is? And they would say it's success and competition and sex and money. And I'd say, that's not nature of God in you. God is not concerned with success or money or any of these things. We're looking for the nature of God in us because we're image bearers. We bear in our nature the very nature of God. And the second thing is that we tend to want to be God and control things and to mold things and to make things, and not only for our life, but for other people's lives. We want to say, I think you should do that. Well, it's the wrong question. But the third thing is this whole analogy of the pot. Several years ago, I bought this. I bought it at an antique store, and I saw it and thought it was kind of cool actually. And I thought, I got a couple ways I'm going to use this thing, but I didn't know what it was, because I thought, we'll use it for flowers and plants, and that would be nice. But it came with this, a top. Can you see that? The top, and the top was curious. So I bought it and came home and did some research and found out that it's actually it's a fake, but it's a fake replica of a chamber pot. And I thought, yeah, that's right. That's the potter and the clay. The potter can make it a pot for beautiful flowers, or he can make it a pot for chamber pot. And look, the same is true with us. I mean, there are days that I feel like God has used me and made me a flower pot in the king's palace. And there are other days I feel like God has made me a chamber pot and everyone just pisses on me. And you know what? Either is okay. Because it's God. Because God is the potter. And he gets to do with his clay whatever he wants. There's a great quote from Francis Schaeffer who said, most men want to build their own kingdom. Some men want to build God's kingdom for him. And only a few want God to build his kingdom through them. To understand we are the clay, that we are created in God's image for God to use to his glory, is to understand that our lives are to be about God using us to build his kingdom, and not us building our own kingdom or even trying to build God's kingdom for him. Let me encourage you to ask that question every day. To ask the Lord every day, Lord, here I am. I'm the clay in your hands. How do you want to use me today? Thanks for watching. This is Aggressive Grace. I'm Bob Perkins.